Let's go!
All right, guys. Hi, everyone. I'm Shubham. I'm the head of ecosystem at Manta. Plus, I'm also the moderator. As you can see, the topic is like unlocking next-gen DeFi or something. We're not going to talk about that, to be honest. So it should be very simple. So let's start with the introduction. And I also want to know one USP or moat. What do you think is different from your current competitors? Or you think as a competitor? Just one line, starting with Seg.
Yeah, thanks for hosting this. I think one major USP for Sonic as an EVM-compatible Layer 1, extremely fast and cheap blockchain is the economic incentives we give back to developers through our fee monetization program. Basically, it's like, if you think about a YouTube creator economy, based on viewership, creators get revenue. It's not the case on blockchain because all the gas fees that users are using interacting with developers' contracts are going to validators on the vast majority of chains. But on Sonic, 90% of all the gas fees that contracts generate go directly back to the developers of those contracts. So it's basically a creator economy where the influencers are the developers. So it really differentiates us from almost every single blockchain out there, in addition to our other really great features that are also industry-leading. I think this is our major economic incentive for developers to come to our chain and a major USP that doesn't exist on any other chain that I know of.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, John.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm John, co-founder of Supra. And Supra is a high-throughput L1. What really differentiates us is the fact that a lot of protocols, a lot of layer 1s or layer 2s kind of talk about the modular thesis. Specializing in one specific thing. Supra, we are the antithesis of the modular world. We are actually on the monolithic side, or maybe the super monolithic or mega monolithic. And what Supra does differently is that we are not only a layer 1, high throughput L1, but we integrate native Oracle services onto our chain. So our validator set are not only validating transactions and smart contracts, they are also validating Oracle data, price feeds, automation, cross-chain communication. And really the power of this and having this natively system-level automation, system-level price feeds, is that you get this data and you get these automations, which is if this then that logic, in a single block. And so you have much less delay that other ecosystems might have if they build in a modular way. If you have a protocol, for example, most protocols, DeFi protocol, exist on, let's say, Solana, but they might use an external Oracle for price feeds. They might use an external service for automation. Those external protocols bring added latency and a massive amount of inefficiencies. A lot of what you might have heard the term MEV, maximum extractable value. But value is extracted, in these circumstances when you have these modular protocols. So anyway, Supra is a fully vertically integrated L1 with native Oracle services, and we focus on having the best execution quality in DeFi.
Thank you. Yeah, Marty.
Hi everyone, I'm Martin, CMO of Rango Exchange. Rango is the cross-chain DEX bridge aggregator that supports interoperability between 70 blockchains, including all EVM chains, non-EVM chains such as BTC, other UTXOs, Solana, Tron, and we enable this interoperability for all users and also provide the infrastructure for other dApps and top-tier wallets that are looking for cross-chain infrastructure and cross-chain feature.
Got it. Yep. Alex, your name is quite difficult, so just Alex.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm the founder of iSopo Network. I've been doing tech for the past 20 years. iSopo Network is a unique layer 1, which is capable of handling tens of millions of transactions per second due to its unique architecture. Basically, each individual user has its own ledger that runs in parallel with others. Basically, we've also developed a protocol from the ground, which is capable of storing decentralized social data securely, and which is owned by the user, so data sovereignty is built in by default. On top of this, we saw a big gap in the industry. Everybody is focusing on building protocols, building infrastructure layers, but there's something that's missing, which is how do we make onboarding easier from Web 2 to Web 3 and not having to worry that, well, we need a lot of developers to build unique products and so on. So basically, we've built a decentralized application framework, which is cross-platform. That means any app built with it works on Windows, Mac, Linux as native apps, web browsers, iOS, Android, mobile, and tablet. This allows anybody without any coding experience to launch from social apps which are fully decentralized, chat apps similar to Telegram with group chats, channels, end-to-end encrypted by default, with a quantum-resistant encryption as well, a self-custodial crypto wallet with over 20 chains, e-commerce, and many, many others. Basically, we want to become the WordPress of Web3, where we don't need to rely on developers. We're just going to rely on users that are going to deploy and build their decentralized apps easily.
Got it, got it. Okay, cool. So for the next few questions, I'll just go individually for everyone because I have different questions. So starting with Sonic. So I remember Sonic since the Phantom time. So I personally think your rebranding thing really worked well. So on the developer side, I wanted to know and understand as really well that how Phantom and Sonic is quite different, or is it just about the logo change and it's just about the token?
Yeah, for sure. So as you know, but some people in the audience may not, Phantom is, after Ethereum, one of the oldest EVM chains that has ever existed. We recently, in December of last year, rebranded and relaunched the chain as Sonic. And ever since then, we've reached 1 billion plus TVL, faster than almost, I think, any other chain. We've had USDC coming natively to the chain, which is insane. We're only the second chain in the world that Circle's done this with. And so we have a bunch of different things that are very unique about us. Regarding the actual transition, there were multiple reasons for it. One major reason was because we have a very big and sort of robust tech team that is working on the foundational consensus layer of our blockchain. We had a bunch of improvements that to the database, to the VM, and the client that needed a chain upgrade in order to be implemented, so they could not be implemented in a running chain. And so those were years in the making with tons of R&D from our PhDs on our team. And to implement those upgrades, we had to launch a new chain. And so Sonic was born as a result of that. And I think we are probably the most technologically advanced EVM compatible blockchain that exists. We have, I mean, our co-founder, Andre Cronje, has offered Vitalik from Ethereum to sort of, and the Ethereum Foundation to use our tech because it's open source if they want to improve Ethereum itself. But Ethereum has taken a different scaling sort of approach, which is to use a bunch of layer 2s, and that's unfortunately hurting them quite a lot, in my opinion. So we've taken a different scaling approach, which is to scale the layer 1 as maximally as possible and aggregate as much infrastructure and as much tooling into a single interoperable sort of layer 1 ecosystem rather than fragmenting across many layer 2s. So that's sort of what, because of our layer 1 thesis for scaling, we upgraded our chain to improve throughput incredibly. Our throughput is absolutely probably the fastest you can get on any EVM chain that exists today. And reports from people I know who are in different builder communities like Solana's community have said that this actually feels faster than Solana, and they've never seen that in a chain before. Because you see chains that will speak metrics like very large sort of transaction volumes, low time to finality, et cetera. But the actual UX is what actually matters at the end of the day. The metrics don't. When a user uses the chain, does it feel snappy? Does it feel like Web 2? Because that's what you need to onboard the next billion users. It should be familiar to people who are using Web 2, not the latency you get in Web 3. So we've implemented a lot of these upgrades to make the user experience much better. We've implemented economic upgrades to make it much more attractive for devs to come and build on our chain. And we are probably the most advanced EVM chain that exists right now, economically, technologically, and everything else in terms of fundamental metrics and all that. So, I mean, our metrics show it, and the hype around Sonic right now is also warranted, in my opinion.
Okay, I have a few questions about scaling and speed, but let's take on the next slide. So, coming to Supra, so even I remember you guys were an Oracle, then you moved to Move VM, initially Aptos and then Movement. So, by the way, like, what's your opinion? How's everything in Move ecosystem right now after Rushi?
Yeah, so the Move ecosystem is a little bit heated at the moment. You know, what's happening with Movement and their team. There are a lot of, like, the ecosystem itself, and a lot of the builders and founding team members of Movement they're good people, and you know, so I hope that, you know, they do well. I don't want to punch down on their ecosystem at the moment, but Move is strong. I mean, so you mentioned Supra went to, you know, we started as an Oracle. We were actually Supra Oracles. And we started about like 5-6 years ago as Supra Oracles, and we decided to do this on purpose, to go to market as an Oracle. And then, you know, when our L1 mainnet was live, we'd flip the switch and we go live as an L1 with native oracles. But our Oracle services has been live for a couple years now. We're over 50 different chains servicing DeFi on different layer 1s and layer 2s for the last 2 years with over 500 data pairs. But in November of last year, we went live as the third Move-based L1 to market. So there's first Aptos and Sui, then Supra. So our Move-based L1 is live. But that's not the end goal for us, actually. The Move ecosystem is great and it's big. But actually, for the sake of developer experience, we are multi-VM. So we're also launching EVM on Supra. That will be live on testnet this month. And Solana VM towards the end of the year. So Supra is actually a multi-VM platform where you can have multiple virtual machines, you have multiple programming language. On the EVM side, of course, you can have Solidity. In Move VM, you can have Move Lang, and also with Solana, Solana VM. So we're giving developers more options as we go. But to answer your question, we went to market as an Oracle because going to market as an L1, as you guys might know, is highly capital intensive to build an ecosystem. You need hundreds of millions of dollars to do so. And 6 years ago, as a team, we just did not have the chops and the ability to raise that kind of money that Aptos and Sui were able to, right? So going to market as an Oracle was a strategic move for us. We were able to build an ecosystem. We were able to integrate with 50+ chains. But it really allowed us to grow slowly and steadily. And you know, we're building for the long term. And slow and steady sometimes is actually the good way to do it.
Okay. By the way, like, so right now I think so Sui Move VM is quite different. Aptos is different, and your and Movement was the same one. So because of this, like, are you thinking like you will get some more traction? Because all the developers who were waiting for the mainnet for them, they have another alternative option.
Once again, I don't want to spend this time punching down on Movement with what's happening in their team. They have wonderful people that work there. I have to say that some of them are reaching out to us and wanting to work with us. There's ecosystems that are launching on Movement. Of course, they're thinking, well, maybe we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket and that. So it is happening, and I think it's a natural thing to happen.
Got it. Okay. Okay, so Martin, I have a simple question as a Web2 user. So everyone calls it as chain abstraction and there is a DEX aggregator, okay? But for a Web2 user, it's not a different thing. If they heard a word called as aggregator, it's like aggregating all the things at once. It can be Manta token, Supra token, F token, everything. Like, they should be at one particular place. So is it like you are just focused on a particular chain, particular set of DEXs, you are aggregating the price, or you are also looking to some other stance on aggregation?
Absolutely, because internally we are thinking that if we want to bring new users, especially Web2 users that you mentioned, in the future, the Web2 users won't care about on what chain they are on. They just need simple and fast transactions. And we are thinking that the biggest catalyst to bring more users will be making DeFi's complexity invisible, especially for newcomers. That's what we are thinking about new technologies, like, for example, adding AI in our routing system, or even gas abstraction, or integrating of intent-based blockchain, and step-by-step go for chain abstraction. I think this is very important to bring this simplicity for the DeFi users.
So what's your personal opinion if you want to do like $10,000 swap from any particular like tier 2 token to like USDT? You'll use a DEX aggregator or a centralized exchange?
It depends on their strategy, I believe, but I think DEX aggregators is very easy because you just connect your wallets, and we will find the best rate for you without any additional fees, and the transaction will be very smooth.
So you still like think like there is a lot of scope in the slippage part, because like that's an issue for me at least. Like whenever I use a DEX or aggregator as compared to centralized exchange, I face a lot of like losses on the slippage cost.
Yes, if you want to do it manually, I mean without doing using DEX aggregator, especially cross-chain DEX and bridge aggregator, yes, there will be many loss. But what we are doing at Rango, we are checking all the possible routes and provide the best routes based on the minimum slippage. Also working on to aggregate other providers that they are zero slippage, which we have already most of them. And the cross-chain swap is really right now easier than before.
Okay, got it. Okay, Alex, now coming to you. So I know you guys use the same stack or technology which Ton is using, right?
What?
Ton is using the same stack, right?
Yeah, basically we are the first fork of Ton, but we are just using Ton for some part of our technology. We also build a side chain which handles all the true output and tens of millions of transactions per second from the ground. So.
Okay. So you also mentioned on your introduction that people don't have to code everything to build on you. You have templates and everything to get deployed, right?
Yeah, basically there's going to be a drag and drop no code app builder, right? Just moving the mouse, selecting which template you want. You can customize it, you can add, you can remove, and so on. Let's say you want to build an MPC self-custodial wallet for your project. You can do that in less than 1 hour. You get it. You get the files for App Store, Play Store, Windows, Mac, Linux. You point it to your domain, and that's it, right? If you later want to add also social component, right? Let's say similar to X or Instagram or whatever, we have that as well. If you want to have videos similar to TikTok, we have that as well. If you want to add articles, we have that as well, similar to a decentralized medium. If you want to add chat functionality, we have that as well, e-commerce. So basically, it allows anybody to build different types of apps from, for example, we are focusing as well on school products. We did a pilot in Romania for schools, and the onboarding was very smooth, and over 90% of school users joined the beta app. Basically, again, we are integrating for sports, for club sports, for fan community-based apps, right? They can also be able to buy the tickets, they can interact with the players and so on. So basically we have a lot of bunch of use cases from many different domains, but we focused a lot on the user experience and making it not feel like you're on Web3. So from the moment you register and you log in, everything is very easy. We are using passkeys, so basically there are no brute attacks or hacking attempts. We don't have any emails or passwords or phone numbers. We are a privacy-focused product as well. Of course, you can add an OTP or two-factor authentication in case you want to secure your account. So, yeah.
Got it.
From my perspective, in the DeFi area, right, if we want to succeed and how do I see the future is that making it very easy accessible for your day-to-day apps. So for example, if you have your social app, which you interact already with your user, it should be easy, just clicking a hashtag, buy the token, and that's it. It doesn't matter on what chain it is. It should be multi-chain and so on. So this is what we are building.
Got it, got it. So, but still, your ecosystem is circulated on a closed ecosystem for your, right? It is not still connected to other EVM chains or SVM chains.
So the infrastructure itself works on our protocols, but the DApp framework allows over 20 chains to implement. We have about 70 projects that we did in the last month. They are on the waiting list to launch their community social apps with us, where their token will going to be integrated as the main utility within the app. So basically, any existing crypto project on the chains that we support, they can launch their own community social apps, branded apps with the MPC custodial wallet, and making their tokens deflationary. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. They have their community. When they do a swap, when they do an upgrade to a quantum-resistant encryptions and so on, it doesn't matter if they are paying it through fiat or crypto. We just buy back the tokens from the market and we burn them. That adds any extra utility on any existing projects, even if it's new or existing one, and it makes it deflationary. So.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, coming to the question which I had previously was about these transaction or scalability, which you mentioned a lot. First thing, like, do we have that much users that we require that much scaling as well? Second thing, if we have that many users, what are the particular DeFi applications you think, apart from perps, are really using this high scalable solutions?
Yeah, so right now, the scalability, there's a good argument to be made that scalability is not the thing that's holding the industry back. It's adoption. And why do you need scalability if you don't have the right amount of adoption? I think for us, it's not only the upgrades that were made with Sonic is not only about scalability for the here and now, it's also for the future in terms of, I mean, our user growth has been phenomenal since we started the chain, and we're going to hit, if we were on Phantom, we would have hit a limit as we continue to grow. So the idea is to plan for the future and have the scalability available for when the adoption reaches such a point that you're at your capacity. But also, additionally, there are things that the upgrades allow for that are sort of, you'd class them under scalability, but they actually enable DeFi use cases that were not possible under a different paradigm before. And so an example of that is time to finality for us is under a second, because our block time is under a second. And so what that means, and our finality is a single block finality. What that means is exchanges, for example, when you deposit USDC from Sonic into an exchange like Binance, which has basically recently been enabled, USDC directly from Sonic to Binance, you are able to leverage the instant finality that provides. So if you guys have ever experienced waiting for 20 minutes before your deposit is now available to trade or whatever, that's because there is a lack of certainty in the finality of your transaction that occurs on the vast majority of every other chain. Mm-hmm. So for example, for Bitcoin, for a transaction to be considered completely final, it's usually around 6 blocks, which is 10 minutes per block, about an hour. You have to wait for a Bitcoin transaction to be considered irreversible. And there are technical reasons for that, which I won't go into, but for Sonic, because of our unique consensus mechanism and the improvements we've made, we literally have sub-second finality, which neither Ethereum nor any major blockchain has. And it's enabled not just that centralized exchange use case that I mentioned, that's just a small one. You don't have to wait to use your deposit on a centralized exchange. It's considered irreversible. But also, it allows for DeFi applications like, for example, perps are one. There's a lot of different trading-centric applications that require you to make sure that the block is not, or your transaction is not going to be reversed in order to take a second transaction in front of it. And so there's a lot of different use cases that are enabled by what you would call under an umbrella term of scalability, but it's not necessarily scalability in terms of allowing for more transactions to occur, but also like faster transactions, confirmation time that enables different use cases. So scalability is a broad umbrella term, and I think for Sonic, we are the most EVM, the most scalable EVM compatible chain that exists right now, and in all the facets of scalability that you could talk about because of the improvements we've made. So our angle was really just to tackle the EVM L1 dilemma from scalability perspective, and then also an economic feasibility perspective for developers, because developers usually don't have a way to raise capital other than front-loading all their raise on a token sale, for example, which then misaligns incentives long-term with the developers and the token holders, because now the developers have gotten all the money. What's their incentive to continue their project? So fee monetization, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the major ways that we continue to incentivize developers to continue building and improving their projects, because they continue to get revenue as their projects are used on an ongoing basis, just like creators on YouTube don't stop making videos because they get more money as more viewers watch their videos. So we've rethought a lot of the different aspects of the chain, from scalability to economics, that really has not been done at any fundamental level in other EVM chains or other blockchains generally. And so I think Sonic is rightly so one of the most exciting projects that exist in the blockchain space today.
Got it. Okay, guys, we have very few time left, so let's keep the answers short. So, John, next thing. So, you mentioned about alt VMs like SVMs, EVM, and Move VM. So, talking about your ecosystem, say suppose if I'm an application who is right now on your Move VM, can I will also be a part of like EVM and SVM? Or are you going to solve this for me, or I need to create the different codes for each and every one?
So we're going to have multiple virtual machines on one network. So the same validator set, it's shared security, right? The same validator set that are running consensus on the Move VM will be doing so on the EVM and the SVM. So they're the same validator set. And because of that, there is almost full composability across VMs. And so we are going to be solving that for the developers. Developers can deploy on one of the virtual machines or multiple, but it's almost like zero block delay composability, but we haven't fully solved it where you can be able to craft one transaction in a single block across multiple VMs. If we solve that, that's really a holy grail, so that's exciting. I know we have limited time. I did want to mention that there was a lot of talk about user experience and onboarding the next X amount of users. But from Supra's perspective, who are the biggest users of blockchain and DeFi today? Is it real users or is it bots? I think it's maybe it's actually bots, right? Through automation, smart contracts. In the rise of AI and AI agents, I don't think this will just 10x or 100x. I think the usage of blockchain and the end user that we should be building for is AI agents. And I think that it'll be 1,000x times transactional volume and usage on blockchain. And so that's why Supra, as we build this fully vertically integrated L1 with these native Oracle services where you can get less delay and better execution quality, we think that AI and AI agents will actually prefer to use Supra because they can have better execution quality. So I think in general, we should, of course, there's certain circumstances where we should have drag and drop builders. We're also going to do that as well. And you also want to create this almost like chat ability for an end user like yourself to be able to express your intent. I want to hedge my risk according to the market, according to the sentiment analysis and the price of Bitcoin. You want to be able to create and talk to AI to have almost like a financial advisor. If this happens, like form a strategy for me. You type it up, it comes back, it gives you basically your automated tasks, and you hit go. And so, but those automated tasks will all be bot and AI driven. And so the end user will hit click on their financial strategy, which is one transaction. But after that, it is fully automated and it is done through agents. And so that's the end user that I think we have to build for.
I think so. Like we have oracles, we have chains, we have AI application. We need a Supra indexer as well now to have the whole ecosystem. Yeah, Ranko. So, what are your thoughts on the DEXs currently? As he mentioned, there are a lot of like tokens which are like trading on DEXs, and we require a lot of aggregators. Jupiter is doing quite well in the Solana ecosystem. So do you have a like particular thing why Jupiter is more successful than any other like big DEX aggregator in EVM ecosystem?
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
So very short, like what do you think like is the success story behind Jupiter, which is not implemented in any other alt VM space, like or EVM space?
Do you mean that other success story than EVM space?
Yeah. So what should be the major key for us?
I believe that's what we integrate other non-EVM chains, because we believe that there are too many things will happen in non-EVM spaces. Because right now, major of the aggregators are working on EVMs, but there is an empty space to break this boundary between non-EVM to EVM chains. Also, for example, Solana is working really good on the meme sections, or even move-based blockchains are really good. So that's why we are working on other non-EVM chains as well.
Got it. Okay, yep. So on ICE network, so I see the name is also quite similar to TON network, right?
Yeah.
So
Ion.
okay, got it. So is there any like particular use case you think like in the DeFi side for you specifically is quite different from any other chain or any other competitor?
Well, the most unique part, I would say, that differentiates us than the others is that we have a fully deflationary model. Basically, everything that we develop from the protocols, from the ad revenue and everything doesn't go anywhere. It goes back to the token, buys back and burns it, and rewarding the community. So basically, I think this differentiates us from what it is on the market right now, right?
Okay, awesome. Cool. That's time up. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening, and thank you, panelists.